Good morning, guys. Peace and quiet. I want to talk about plate carriers, chest rigs, LBEs, load carrying stuff, all that stuff. There's some good discussions online, and then there's some ridiculous discussions. A lot of guys just want an answer. Like, hey, I'm doing this. What should I carry? Okay, fine. Unfortunately, what comes with direct answers like that seems to be like parroted advice, outdated advice, new advice that kind of doesn't make sense. So we don't have to nerd out and beat up this subject too much, but I just kind of want to cover some of the basics. All right, so if you're preparing to be a rifleman or any kind of useful member of a team, or you're carrying weapons and doing stuff outdoors, you're going to have your weapon, right? Then you're going to have a way to carry extra ammo. From there, the rest is either personal preference, or maybe you have a team SOP. So I've put out a group standardized kit. That's for patrolling and like long range patrolling, where you're going to have some sustainment on you. And I think that's pretty simple, and it's a good way to start. Every member of your team is going to have things that they must have. They're mission critical. Special optics, digging tools if you're doing fighting positions, special comms equipment. You might have your radio guy with an SDR, scanning the frequencies and stuff. Your RTO, who's talking back to your compound instead of having this giant boxy radio like an old Singar's on his back. Everybody on your team is probably going to have a radio, but you're probably all going to be talking on low power. So you're not just talking to the whole freaking mountain or the whole community. And your RTO, who's talking back to your compound, he might have his HQ freak set to a higher power because he's the one trying to get out, right? But the point is, we're going to have some standardized things, and then the rest is personal preference. We have to get out of the analysis paralysis. There's guys that just constantly want to debate and ask questions and fight about this stuff. And if you have nothing, I would suggest you just get something and get going. All right, you're going to play with some stuff. You'll learn about it as you're actually training. Okay, debating all this stuff online and theorizing in chat groups does nothing for you, because what works for one dude may not work for another guy. And I have an awesome example for that. So if you've got a cheap plate carrier, this one's not cheap, but if you have a plate carrier because you got into the plate carrier phase, all right, and you thought it was cool. I know guys who rock these. They just take the plates out, and this is their load carrying equipment. You can carry ammo. That's the main freaking thing we've met. And somewhere on here, you can mount something to carry water. All right. Some guys don't want to put water in their fighting kit. Cool. You can definitely put all of your medical stuff you might need and any other last minute mission essentials. You've got like an admin pocket. So rock the plate carrier without the plates in it. And there you go, man. That is a load carrying piece of equipment. As far as just getting started, we've got this Nezumi chest rig. We've been playing for this for a while. I should have a review video out already. If not, it's coming. But for like 50 or 60 bucks, talk about budget. That's actually decent. And this is your minimalist fighting carrier, right? So bullets, maybe some water, and trauma stuff. This is going to carry it, and it's going to carry a ton of bullets. So that is a budget way to get going. So if you think you might like chest rigs and you don't have a lot of money, 50 or 60 bucks, there you go. You're started. There's like the Condor chest rigs on Amazon. They look pretty cool. I don't think they carry as much ammo, and I believe their pouches are fixed. All right, so quote me on that or not. It's kind of like this one. This is the one Tigris, and if it's metal magazines, it holds 8. So this is a minimalist thing, okay? So if I'm out on the ATV or maybe on foot, and I just want a spare mag or two, or maybe I'm just rocking the pistol and I just want a couple magazines for the pistol. All right, but some survival stuff, my radio, a radio battery, some, you know, extra little doodads to carry, but I don't want to, I'm not doing doomsday stuff, okay? Well, then this is perfect. So let's go back in time for a minute. This is the Army load carrying equipment, load bearing equipment. The harness is original and the pistol belt is original. Everything else I had to piece together. And the butt pack, actually the butt pack is like one of the first butt packs I ever had. I couldn't tell you who it's from, doesn't matter. But this is still an outstanding system, and this is where we get into kind of the modern, postmodern debates. So a term I've heard thrown around a lot is the GWAT vets, our experience is irrelevant. You don't need chest rigs because we're not in vehicles anymore. We're not wearing plate carriers and all that stuff. Okay, so that makes sense to a point, but when the guys who say that can't explain why, then you should probably question why they're saying that. Because some people, they just hear what their favorite YouTuber says and then they parrot that. So if somebody says, well, chest rigs are irrelevant, I would say, why? I still use them. But one of the main reasons is that you can carry a lot of weight with this. You see, I've got an empty space here. I could fill that up, and I've got some other spaces I could fill up. So the point to this is you've got weight dispersion, right? So you've got it on your hips, and with the harness, you've got it on your shoulders. That makes carrying a load extremely comfortable. And then why do I like to go to this? Well, I love this for, again, the weight dispersion, but also in this summer. Because all of this space and this openness right here in the front, that's just magic for breathability in the dead of summer when it's just boiling hot, whereas a chest rig is just, yeah, it's tough, man. Now, a problem with this is, yes, if you are getting into vehicles at all, it's going to suck, right? So that's one reason why in the GWAT, we did not just sit in vehicles and patrol in our vehicles, all right? I don't know where that came from. We would use our vehicles, like I was a mechanized dude, we'd sit in the back of the Bradley all cramped up, and we'd get a ride out to an area. We would dismount, and then we would do our foot patrols around the area while the Bradleys, probably they went to sleep, I don't know. All right, so this is shit when you're in a tight space, in and out of vehicles and stuff. That's why we dump this. If you're in vehicles for just a couple minutes, or you've got room in the vehicle, it's not horrible. Another benefit to this is you can set this up to where if you are doing plate carriers, you have a slick plate carrier, and you just throw this over your plate carrier. Now you have the best of both worlds, because METTC, we're not always going for the plate carrier, but what if I'm down at the gate and I'm on guard and I'm in a defensive position, not patrolling, not climbing hills or anything like that. I'm just standing around watching and listening. Well, because I'm vulnerable, I'm a static target, I might want to go to a plate carrier in a ballistic helmet, and then I can just throw my gear over that, right? METTC, or as my buddy Alpha Charlie Concepts always talks about, context, right? Everything is contextual. The LCE setup, that's my summer dismounted setup. This looks like a badass update to the LCE, right? So we've got a harness system, and then we've got a decent sized belt to get that on your hips. This is from Crossfire. This is the DZ rig. This has actually been around for a while. I just now got my hands on it, so I'm going to be playing with this. Seems like an outstanding freaking update to the LCE, right? So we'll play with that and give you guys an update. Again, though, if I'm hopping in the truck, you know, all this stuff on the back, it's gonna suck, man. So something to think about. Also, why do you still like chest rigs so much? You know, why can't you let them die? Okay, well, we did switch to chest rigs because we were sitting in Humvees or Bradleys, and you need access to stuff. Chest rigs may not be good for dudes because if you've got 10 to 12 magazines here, and we do wear them high up, if you have a weak back because you do zero strength training, all you do is push-ups and sit-ups, yeah, that's going to throw off your center of gravity. But let me just tell you guys why I still like the chest rig, right? So this is the Army TAP rig, Tactical Assault Panel. I've got this set up for an upcoming course, so we'll call this like my instructor setup, right? But I've got this one pretty minimum. I don't have any rifle mags because I'm not carrying a rifle. I prefer this for those type of scenarios and some rifleman scenarios. And the main point is I've got all my stuff right here in front that's reachable. And when I'm wearing a pack, so for the course, we're all wearing packs. Packs will work with this stuff, right? Obviously, when I came in 03, it was the Alice setup. So we had the freaking LCEs, and then we had our Alice Rucks. Now, that works totally fine. The problem is with the newer packs, with this pistol belt right here, you can't, there's not really a comfortable way to use the hip belt on your ruck. All these modern rucks have hip belts. So you have two options. One, which I do plenty of times, is I take my Crossfire CF2 ruck and I just mount the belt on around the outside of the ruck, and I just don't use it. So if I'm wearing this, I'm not using the belt on my ruck, which can be problematic, but again, I have strengthened my back, so I'm usually okay. The puppy's got to say, hey, what do you like? You like chest rigs or load carrying? Huh? What do you like? I'm on foot a lot, but I'm also in and out of trucks, and I'm on ATVs and off. And so when I'm on an ATV, you know, I don't like to be reaching like this for stuff. I like, you know, driving, and then I got everything right here. Okay, so that works for me. And then when I do dismount and dump the ATV, stash it, and start going off into the woods doing stuff, I'm totally cool with having that weight here. Another thing, for the older guys, you might want to consider this. I'm not there yet, but as you get older, if you're not doing any kind of training, and if you got beat up shoulders, or maybe you've had shoulder surgery, you start to lose a lot of mobility. All right, so look at these pockets back here. On the original Alice system, we could get back to our canteen pouches or whatever was back here. But if you wanted to get into your butt pack, which was something you were usually doing at a long halt or in your patrol base, you'd be grabbing your poncho out, you had to take it off. Okay, so removing gear in the field is something I always hated. I couldn't stand that. And I know, like, kind of the cool guy soft things is they carry extra mags and all this stuff on their back because they get to force their buddy to reach in their back pockets for their Skittles every 5 minutes. Okay, I don't want to make a dude drop security to be digging for crap for me, all right? And I don't like taking gear off. So that's one of the downfalls of these. And then, you know, like on this, these would be kind of your sustainment pouches. You might put a poncho back here. You put some food back here. I know I'm not reaching in these very efficiently, right? So I'm probably going to try and start digging around back there, and then, you know, after a minute of fumbling around in pitch black, not being able to find anything, I'm just going to get pissed and rip it off and dig through it. Well, that sucks, right? Because now I'm inefficient, right? So you can only do that if you're at a long halt and you're not pulling security, which if you're in a small team, good luck with that. So, not saying these are bad, that's just some of the reasons why I will choose the chest rigs, because everything is right here accessible. And when I am on the ATV or in a truck, it's all right there, right? So a lot of guys don't like chest rigs because they don't like having stuff here. When you've got your rifle slung, you better have your thumb on that safety, because with a chest rig, you know, if you're moving through the field, you've got to be controlling your weapon. But some guys, they just don't like to have anything here, okay? So cool, man. That's why you go to this. There's nothing there. And again, in the hot months, breathability. That's why we have options, okay? And that's why we test things. Don't just listen to what one guy says. I'm not trying to give you the answer. I'm trying to give you the philosophies, all right? The considerations, okay? If you're a double weapon guy, okay? So For the course, I'm just carrying my pistol, and it's going to be right here where it is 99% of the time. If I'm doing rifleman stuff, I'm not going to bring my pistol with me. I don't. And unless I'm traveling and I don't want to leave it in the truck, I'm leaving the pistol at home. Okay, but a lot of guys do like to still carry their pistol with them. Okay, so what do you do now when you've got a harness system? Well, this is one of the few times you're going to do what's called Israeli carry, right? So I do have a pack set up. My pack actually has an extra molly pouch. And so because we're not totally sure about the retention, you know, we'll put our pistol in there because we're not going to have a belt around our freaking holster over there. And so then you just kind of carry your pistol on either your suspender belt or your pack belt. I prefer to put it on my pack belt. So again, like this is usually when I will carry without one in the chamber because I can't be totally sure that's going to be safe. That's another thing you don't have to deal with chest rigs, okay? You can wear your pistol just like you do around your homestead, and you never have to switch your pistol around. Because, you know, think about this, guys. If you have to carry your pistol with you and you typically wear it on the side, like on your homestead, now you got to bring a second holster, or you got to have an extra pouch mounted somewhere to throw that pistol in there. Or this is when we'll go to the kind of the drop leg holsters. So I have a Nerd. It's not the drop leg from G1 that goes down to my leg, but it just comes off the hip and down a little bit. Okay, well now you can get your pistol belt around there. So if you look at the guys copying the operators who seem to always need a belt with them, they'll have a chest rig, then they'll have a gun belt, and then their ruck, right? They got like 3 systems to carry stuff. Well, that's when you'll see them have that little drop leg right there, and you got one strap around your leg. Fine. If you like to do that, great. I've never been a gun belt dude, right? I carry all my stuff on my chest or the Alice kit, and then I've got my sustainment on my back, right? If you're a gun belt dude and you want a pistol for secondary, well then those are pretty much your options. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show off the SOE Tactical Special Operations equipment. This is the 8 mag stack chest rig. Now, we've been playing with this for a little bit, and this has been pretty badass, man. So you may notice on the tactical assault panel, a lot of guys complain about the harness system. I don't have a problem with it at all. People say it's uncomfortable. Okay. I lift weights, so I have traps. That's my cushion. But it is thin, right? And so I can understand why guys call it uncomfortable. It's kind of funky down here with the Y on the back. Like if you're trying to get it on in a hurry, that's going to get caught up in places. And for like very wide dudes, that could be a little uncomfortable. The Nezumi actually crosses around your back. So there is a way to set it up as an H style instead of having it crisscross like that. But you're going to have a separate strap. You're going to have to figure something out on the back to hold those together. Otherwise, it just falls apart, right? So guys who don't like the crisscross stuff, right, that might not work for you. The SOE solves that problem. You've got an H style on a chest rig, and then they've got this Velcro strap back here that you can adjust to pull. It holds the straps from falling down, but you can also adjust it to the perfect, comfortable position. And the padding's not super thick. Like, think about it. If the more padding you have on your straps, and then you throw your ruck on, the more issues you're going to have with that, right? Just you're going to have all this crap up here, and that's not fun. All right, but the SOE rig is pretty damn solid so far. If you are a chest rig guy, something like this is perfect because you can carry your entire fighting load. Plus, I usually, I took my canteen off of here. It's on my instructor rig because I want 2 liters on me. But you can carry pretty much everything you need for a day on this, right? And I mean, I guess if it's warm and you just need to sleep against the tree, you'll be good there. Then you've got an entire admin pouch that goes across the whole damn thing. And that's badass. So you can just fit all kinds of crap in there. And of course we got protein bars in it. Why not? I'm liking this one so far. I'll have a review up when I'm done playing with it, but this is a awesome rig. And, you know, so yeah, washed up GWAT guy, I still like my chest rigs, okay? If you have a weak back, you never train your back, or you just don't like to have the weight there, you'd rather have the dispersion, okay, well then you're gonna like a harness system. And then you'll just have to figure out what to do with the pack waist belts when you go to that. So, clear as mud, we good? All right, dig in the next one.